let's get to the heart of it. I feel lonely sometimes. I feel like I'm really doing my own thing. I'm going down my own road less traveled. And that is the road less traveled. The road less traveled is your own road less traveled. That means you're not copying or following anybody, nobody else. And this creative pursuit of uniqueness and self, not from the standpoint of marketing or success, because that's who you want to be, is the road less traveled, meaning there's no rules, but there's principles and laws to understand. I call that the entrepreneur reality system, which I've made a study of through my entrepreneur experiment the last 3 something years. So I need advice, I need ideas, and the social media people haven't a clue. They know next to little to nothing. And I know that because I have a lot of experience in being an entrepreneur and in inner development. So I listen to people and I'm like, you don't know anything, you don't know what you're talking about. You know something, you figured out something. You had one company, two companies, maybe you made 100 million, maybe you made 500 million. Does that mean you know anything? Sure. And you're sharing that. Does that mean you're an expert in your domain? No, not at all. So I'm like, how am I going to get good advice? So I thought, who can I ask? So I think of people who I've read about or I've learned about. They may know something relevant. So I got an issue. I'm thinking, if I feel lonely and if I have doubts and if I feel people think I'm weird, which I am, who am I going to ask? And I thought, well, who is as far outside the norm as you can get? Well, there's a lot of them, but there's one in particular, a certain Russian from the 19th century who spent a little bit of time in a Siberian labor camp where he wrote a seminal work, and then he wrote the big work afterwards, or the first one, I think, that changed philosophy, where he broke uh, a paradigm in philosophy that was just wrong. And I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. So let me ask him how to deal with being misunderstood. So let me talk about him first, and then we'll ask him. Okay, so here he is. Dostoevsky, Notes from Underground. What is Notes from Underground so important? It's such an important book. It ushered in a new way of thinking in the modern era of art. Picasso, all that stuff came from this book. Sartre, Nietzsche came from this book. Was he first? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I explore ideas, I think about them, and I talk about them. What's most important is I have inner experiences of these connections with these individuals because I think about them all the time. These are my mentors because I can't find anybody on YouTube who knows what they're talking about. Definitely not TikTok or Instagram. And you can only go so far with the books. I don't read books for answers anymore. I read books to confirm my own experience and broaden it and get context. So I started reading Dostoevsky, and it's awesome. I am a sick man. I am a wicked man. Notes from Underground. This has something to do with being an entrepreneur. Don't give up on me yet. So, Underground. Even the title. I'm a sick man. I'm a wicked man, an unattractive man. I think my liver hurts. That's how I feel sometimes. I know better than anyone that by all this, I am harming only myself and no one else. I know that too. Doesn't matter what you think of me. I gnash my teeth at them. When petitioners would come for information to the desk where I sat, I'd gnash my teeth at them and feel an inexorable delight when I managed to upset someone. I almost always managed. I feel like this sometimes. But I don't want to. I want to make an impact. I want to do what I'm here to do, which is help entrepreneurs. Help successful people get freedom, satisfaction, and happiness without compromising anything. Because I know how to do that. I'm an expert in inner development. I'm an expert at being an entrepreneur. So let me ask Dostoevsky. He was in a Russian prison labor camp, a prison labor camp, for telling the truth, talking about this kind of stuff. They didn't like it. People hated him because he knew the truth. So all the fancy people are talking about all their fancy stuff. Same today, right? You see this today. All the fancy people are talking about their fancy stuff, and you know it's nonsense, right? But they're more successful than you. They made more money, 100 million, 500 million, billion, and they're on the panels and you're listening to them. I know I am. I'm listening. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. There's a fake front, and they're lying to themselves. They're not lying to me. They believe their own. One friend of me said, the thing about Joe believes his own bullshit. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Well, Dostoevsky didn't have an ounce of bullshit in him. Well, that gets you thrown in a labor camp in 19th century Russia when the Tsar's running the country. So I love Dostoevsky because he tells the truth. How do you know? I just know. How do I know when something's true? It resonates with me. I know it's true. I don't need anybody else to tell me. Not a lot of people on social media resonate with me. I'm like, you sort of know, I think, but I'm not sure. Your social proof, your authority, your persuasion, your use of persuasion principles in marketing is not fooling me. I know how it works. I got some friends that taught it to me. I got a few up here. We'll go in that. Let's see. We got all kinds of guys. We got all kinds of people here. Men, women. Those who don't identify as men and women. You all have something to teach me. So let's get to it. Dostoevsky. I'm going to ask Dostoevsky. Let's see if we get an answer. Dostoevsky. How do I deal with this feeling of, as you described it, my liver hurts when I look at the world sometimes and I listen to what people are doing to each other, especially good people or entrepreneurs and just trying to succeed. It's very simple. The answer is to pay attention to yourself. The inner voice of self is always right. But what's the challenge? The challenge is listening. Well, that's one of the challenges. The challenge of listening is just the beginning of the challenge, but we start with the challenge of listening. What advice can I offer to entrepreneurs? 1, listen. To what? Only yourself. Write this down. Point 1, listen. To what? Only yourself. Now what? Hear what you're listening to. What are you hearing? Truth. Know that, and you will be free. What are you hearing is true. How do you know? Because it's true for you. You know it's true. You know it's true. This is being underground. Underground is knowing what's true when everyone else is telling you it's false. When everyone tells you you're wrong and you're no longer confused. Step 2 has been successfully completed. Write this down. Hear what you are listening to and know it is true. You have successfully become a denizen of the underground. Join us on this journey, Larry, and other entrepreneurs. 3, now that you know it's true, deepen your understanding of truth. How? Begin to examine your beliefs. Whose beliefs? What's a belief? Beliefs are those things that you have not examined, that you believe are true. Where do they come from? the other place? Do they come from underground or above ground? What's above ground? What you were taught, the beliefs. Pay attention. Notice. Why do I think that? Is it true for me? Is it underground? Am I underground? Listening, knowing, understanding, or am I above ground? Being what? Being what? Step 4. How do you get rid of what you're being? What are you being? What do you get for holding on to what everyone tells you and that you don't know for yourself, that is unexamined? Step 4. Careful examination of what you believe. What comes? What goes? That is your decision. Ask no one. Begin to learn not to ask anyone. Decide. Explore the truth inside and decide what goes and what stays. Step 5. Leave behind those safe, comfortable corridors, those armchairs that are stuffed, where those who know little pontificate and share their lack of wisdom with each other. You will not be able to crack that veil and cloud of deceit and deception within the society by getting them to understand anything. As you understand, all of the answers you need will come. That is the lesson to be a successful, road less traveled, top 1%, measured by things that cannot be measured: freedom, satisfaction, and happiness. Entrepreneur. That's pretty good. And that fits because that's kind of what the book's like. So if you read the book, I'm like, wow, that's about it. So how do I sum that up? He used some of my words at the end. And this is a consistent theme. Trust yourself, know yourself. Do not listen to gurus. Listen to yourself. Learn from people. Be open. Be open. It's not about them, it's about you. You don't need to tear down the gurus who are lying to themselves. You can't get through to them. They need to get through to themselves. What you need to do is get through to yourself and figure out who and what you are. And you can turn that knowledge into power and bring that into the world in a way that elevates the condition of not only yourself, but everybody who comes in contact with you.